everything boils down to this. You just can't get around this. It's frustrating, to be honest, because of how true it is. Be sexually disciplined and life will go your way. Sometimes I have like downloads, insights that I get from God, the universe. And this is one of the ones that I've had most recently. And you know, sometimes, man, when you're doing your inner work and you're thinking, you know, this insight is pretty good, this insight is decent. This insight, when I had this one, that when you're sexually disciplined, life will go your way, I was like, it just blew everything out the water. Because this one's so true. Because I applied it and I was like, but that's not fair. That makes so much of a difference. It's like, what? Right? Be sexually disciplined and life will go your way. Why does this even happen for us? I can share some insights. The reason this happens, man, is because you're not blocking yourself. You're not blocking yourself. If you look really closely within yourself, and this is deep, you have potential. You have like a lot of potential. You have more potential than you're kind of willing to admit. Now, I had this for years. I had this massive, massive potential, and I kind of just squandered it because I needed to. Because I needed to burn through years and years of pleasure and hedonism and just busting lots of nuts and being very pleasure-based. That's okay. I have self-forgiveness around that. But what's interesting is when I removed that sort of addiction and those pleasure activities, I saw this potential. And when you have this potential and you let it run your life, you sort of lead with it, the universe pays attention. You are the universe. Right? So when people say, the universe is paying attention, it's you. So you're more aware. Because understand this, whenever we refer to the universe, it can only be found in our direct experience. So we're always referring to you and right now. So when we say you are paying more attention, it's true that you're paying more attention, but it's also at the level where it's even more than you can comprehend. It's like there's a deeper intelligence which is now in your experience, which you're kind of aware of, which you are, but it's there. And this is what's doing everything. So in other words, there's an intelligence that you access when you're sexually disciplined that allows you to flourish in life. This is the real reason that things go your way when you're sexually disciplined. You know, we talk about NoFap, dude. It's like, yeah, of course we need to do that. Of course, that must be there as a foundation. Of course, retention is also a fantastic thing to practice. And if you want to go really, really deep and you want to go for celibacy too, man, amazing. Like, it all adds up. And let me tell you, man, I'm all for all three of them. I mean, for me, I'm mostly focused on celibacy these days. Like the first two I've sort of integrated the best I can into my normal life. And now I'm like, wow, I'm blown away by how fluid things can be when that discipline is there. And you know what? It's really tough, man. Because like this path, at least in my experience, you're either like on the path, you're treading the path, you're making progress, you've got that momentum, things are going your way, or you're totally off the path. You're just indulging and enjoying that pleasure and getting nice and hedonistic. And that's all good, man. That happens. Right? But anyway, back to the point. With sexual discipline, there is a general trend of positivity. You're just happier. I was speaking to a client about 2 weeks ago, and he was just like, yeah, I'm just happier. I'm like, oh my God. And then I started to think about that too in my own life, and I was like, oh, you know what? I am happier. I just started to see I have this ball of energy, this ball of happiness. You've got this momentum, you've got positivity, you've got ojas, you've got that sort of spiritual vigor. It's all going for you, man. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Now, in terms of life going your way, again, man, when you see things that you care about progressing, improving, and you become more successful, you become, just whatever you're doing, it's just better. It just increases in a positive fashion because, and this is a deep point, there's no difference between you and your life. When you upgrade yourself with this energy and with this spirituality, your life is a direct mirroring of that because there's actually no difference, right? Of course, your life is just amazing when you've got this down, when you've got sexual discipline down, because having sexual discipline, it's crazy, but honestly, man, it leads to this spiritual balance and like a deeper energy and positivity that seems to run your life if you let it. It's like it happens on a deeper subconscious level. I'd even say it happens on a spiritual level. In fact, man, I would say that is the level that this is happening on. When you get really metaphysical and spiritual, when you into the spiritual work, you ask yourself these questions, and what's interesting as well is you always come from the bigger point of view. So you look at, what's the deepest possible reason why this is happening? This is how I personally think, man. And I always come back to, the reason why this is happening is spiritual. This is the best way to think as well, by the way, because when you have this big picture spiritual perspective, what's interesting as well is when you look at the smaller things, the smaller reasons why, the physical stuff, for example, it just makes sense intuitively. You kind of just get it. Because again, you've got that big picture perspective and you've got that spiritual understanding, and at least in my experience, there's a sort of spiritual connection that you have there that makes everything else make sense when you're looking at the smaller picture. So from me to you, man, what I would give you as a gift is be sexually disciplined and watch how life goes your way. And it's so precious when you finally start to do this and get this. You're like, I don't know if I can go back. And that will cause some suffering because you're like, man, do I need to commit myself to doing this long term and all this stuff? Sure. And we can speak about that in the future. But for now, man, get disciplined sexually. Enjoy the momentum that you have. Enjoy the fluidity and the flow that you gain. And just let your life do what it needs to do, man. Cool. Final thing, dude, is this. If you want any support in becoming more successful in this area, or any area really, if you want help with transformation personally or spiritually, I do offer coaching. You can check out my website in the link in the description. Otherwise, my friend, that's going to be it for us. Take care, and as always, peace.